Hey guys, it's Beth Jones. How are you doing? I know it's been a really long time since I have popped on to say hi, but we're getting close to the end of the year, and I definitely wanted to come on and just chat a little bit because I don't know about you, but I am already starting to look towards my 2018 training goals. So what do I want to do in 2018 as far as competitions that I may want to enter, or just my general training too, because I'm still, right now for me, I have possibly a weightlifting competition coming up in January and already working towards that. But, thinking about, do I want to start rowing again? Do I want to join my husband this year maybe in some running races? Because that's not really always been my strong point, but, it's something that he loves to do. We've talked about doing together. So, the thing about that is you're probably like me and have started looking ahead at the calendar. I know my husband has had, all of the tabs open, looking on active.com, looking at different competitions coming up. I've been doing the same over at USA Weightlifting, seeing what's around here in my community. And then also looking ahead, trying to decide, okay, is this year I'm going to go back and start training again for rowing? Do I want to make that commitment to those early mornings? Oh, I will talk about that another time. But I know a lot of other friends are doing the same thing. And what I wanted to talk to you today about is, it's one thing to make those goals and say, you know what, I really think that this is the year that I want to run, I want to run, one 5K every season this year. Maybe that's one of your goals. And that's great. And you have that goal. And so then you get online and you go and you find a great 5K training plan or a half marathon or whatever you're doing, rowing, biking, maybe you've decided to do a century ride for biking. So you've gone online and you found a great training plan. And that's wonderful. You have that in hand. You have your goal of what you want to do. You found a training plan that will help you start training for that goal. But is that all you need? Do you have all the tools in your toolbox that are going to help you reach that goal? And in my experience I've been working in sports medicine now with athletes for about almost 20 years. And the thing about what I find with these athletes is we're very single focused, right? We have our goal. I want to run, I want to ride, I want to row, I want to lift. Here's my goal. I'm going to do this. Here's my plan. I found this great plan on the internet, or maybe you've got a coach, and that's great. You have your training, your sports-specific training plan, but it's not enough. We have to have a lot more in our toolbox in order to keep, ourselves motivated and to keep ourselves pain-free. The preventative part of it is the biggest thing that I see. Most of us are brought down some point during the year in reaching our goal due to injury. That's the number one. The number two thing that we're brought down with is lack of motivation. It's right now it's cold. If you're a runner, it is hard to get out there and run. Or if you're a bicyclist, maybe, the streets are too icy. Okay. It's cold. So, sorry, my kids are running outside. I actually locked them out so they wouldn't come in while we were talking today. I found my little space and I'm like, I'm just gonna lock them out. But yeah, so we need a prevention, something for prevention so you don't get hurt and you can continue to train. And then you also need something to keep you motivated, because that's the two things I see. And I've done it myself. It's like, all of a sudden you're doing great in your plan and oh my God, your hip starts twinging and what's that about? And you keep going for a little bit and it's not getting any better. And so then you stop because you're frustrated because it hurts to lift. And then you've lost all your motivation and you never get back to that goal again. So I wanted to kind of go over some of these elements that we have to have in a fully designed training program. Okay. The number one thing, and the first two here are the things we've already talked about. You have to have your goal. Okay. And in that goal, in your training program, whatever you find for your training plan, it has to be something where you are seeing consistent progression towards that goal. Okay? So that's the first thing. Number two is you have to have a sport-specific training plan. Okay? Whatever your goal is, even if you're an active person that you just are like, I just want to get out there working again. I just want to walk again. I just want to start running. Maybe you don't want to do a competition. You still have to have that sport-specific plan. because just going to the gym and lifting weights isn't necessarily going to help you in that goal, unless your goal, is to start doing more physique or eventually, and that's even that with the weightlifting. What kind of weightlifting do you want to do? What's your goal of that? Do you want to do Olympic or powerlifting? Great. Do you want to do physique lift, work? Great. But you have to have that sport-specific training plan for that. All right. Now here are the other 3 things of these 5, okay? Cross-training and functional training, okay? I am highly, 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 highly proponent of functional training. Functional training is where we are mimicking our bodies, and we're using our bodies in all different directions instead of just in the sagittal plane that we do a lot this way. We're using rotation, we're moving up, we're moving down, we're moving, more in the frontal plane and things like that. We have to have these exercises that are bringing us into more functional activities and functional exercises that are getting us out of the repetitive patterns that most sports training does, okay? When we're riding a bike, we're constantly riding in one direction. When I'm rowing, constantly just moving back and forth. When we're running, if you're running outside on varied terrain, yes, you get a little bit more, but otherwise you're running, okay? These are overuse patterns. This is how we get hurt, because if this is all we do, then our bodies and our muscles never get a signal. First of all, they don't get a break, and that causes friction and wear in our joints, and that causes inflammation and pain. Secondly, the muscles that aren't being used start to atrophy. Okay, so we need to do cross-training. We need to do functional training, and this is strength training. If you're an endurance athlete, you need to be doing some strength training, some resistance training. If you are a strength athlete, like for me as an Olympic lifter, I need to do other exercises besides just the clean and jerks and just the snatches. There are other exercises resistance-wise I need to do. And I also need to bring in some cardio into my training. We have to do cross-training to make sure that we are truly functional and we are using our bodies in more than just one way. The 4th thing we need is we need to have a prevention and recovery program in place. We have to have a set. And I use restorative exercise mostly, that with a combination of some core work, to make sure that our core, which is our powerhouse of everything we do in sports, is strong and functional. And then in addition to that, we have to add in these restorative corrective exercises to make sure that we're keeping our body in a really good release state so that the muscles are engaging and they're keeping their length, and we are looking really good in how our alignment is, and we are keeping ourselves there. And we are doing things in our lifestyle habits to make sure that we are not promoting those overuse behaviors that we do so much. Okay, so far we have a goal and a consistent progression on that goal. And secondly, we need a sports-specific training program. Third, we have to have cross-training and preferably a functional training program with that. 4th is a recovery and prevention plan. And the 5th thing that we need is we need accountability. We need a team, okay? If you are going out there, there's some of us, or you guys just are so, my husband's kind of one of these people. He still needs some help, and he is very focused. When he says he's going to do something, he does it. I am not one of these people. I need somebody to say, hey, Beth, did you get this done? I think you're doing a great job. I'm sorry this feels this way, but I want you to keep going. We have to have that accountability. We have to have that team. So I always think about when I was rowing in college. I had a really awesome group and team of people around me, and I had a coach. And the one thing about rowing that differs from some other teams, not all of them, but rowing, you literally put in a boat. And a lot of rowing clubs and rowing teams don't have enough people to fill a boat. So if you are not there, there have been times when I showed up for a rowing practice and someone didn't come, and we were literally rowing with an odd number of people with an empty seat in the boat, and that's a really big pain in the butt if you've ever been there. You have a team who counts on you to do well, right? You have a team who's lifting you up when you're feeling down, because they want you to do well, because you bring your energy to the team. In addition to that, you have a coach. You have a coach who knows your plan. You have a coach who can step back and look at you and see how you're doing and giving you suggestions to help you meet that goal. It's something we don't often have as we get into adults and start doing these programs by ourselves. And because we don't have that, we lose that motivation, and a lot of the times we fall to the wayside. And then we think back, it's like, no, I really wanted to do that. I should have done it. We beat ourselves up about it. Okay? We have to have this team and this accountability that a coach and a team gives us in order to really be successful in these goals that we set for ourselves. That is your total training program. And we can find it in different places. You know, as I said, you might have a coach, you know, but, you know, what about the recovery? My husband was training for Boston, and he did a lot of training on his own to start with and found training plans online, and then he finally hired a coach. His coach also happened to be, he's a wonderful running coach, also happened to be a PT. However, my husband started to develop pain in his foot, and I said to him, like, babe, there is something wrong here. Okay, there, you know, this isn't good. And his coach is like, oh no, it's in your head. And I totally agree that there are definitely pain signals that we get stuck there, you know, that we're always going to feel pain. But in this case, with the other things that were showing up with that pain, I said, I think you're developing an inflammation, probably some plantar fasciitis. He'd had a history of issues with shin splints and Achilles tendonitis and all these things that we've been working with. And if you have husbands, you also will understand that sometimes, or, you know, you're talking to your partner, whoever, you don't even know that they may be an expert in the field. They don't always listen to you. And that was the case for a while. But anyway, his plantar fasciitis got so bad, and he went to podiatrist, and he went to other PTs and doctors. It was so bad, he basically lost his goal of competing in Boston. And this all happened during his year. He was going to qualify, and he was well on track to do so. So finally, I was able to get to him and say, okay, we have to put you into a recovery plan. And that's what we did. And now that's what he does. He recovered, he got over it, but he has, after his run, he has a very specific plan that he does for recovery after every run, and he implements at least 3 days a week a functional exercise plan on top of it. So some of this stuff is stuff I've given to him, and just because of who he is, it's things he's researched his own, and we've kind of combined some things, but I'm happy to say he's on set track to start running and start going through that Boston goal again. Okay? You have to have somebody that understands this stuff when it comes up, because a lot of times your coaches don't. I can't tell you how many times I had an athlete who came into my training room with some severe pain and issues going on, and their coach is yelling at me saying, oh, they're fine, and, you know, just get them back out there. And it's like, no, they're not. Look at what's going on. Look at the signals. I can get them back out there for you, but we need to do these other things to balance them out, because they're doing way too much of this sport-specific stuff over here and not too much of the recovery things that need to happen over here to keep you balanced. And that balancing is what keeps you training pain-free and keeps you progressing in that goal and not having to sit on the sidelines. So these are the things you have. So as you're looking forward into your training goals for next year, you know, write these down. And, you know, check them off and make sure that you have these things in place. And if you're missing anything, then that is when you need to start going out and looking for how you can fill those holes. And of course, I have a possibility for you if that is your case. We are on the verge of launching. It's actually live. You can go over there right now. I have a few people who are testing out for December, but it is the Move, Heal, Play monthly training club. And what I'm going to be doing is giving you all of those things. You get the whole training tools accessible to you every month, and they change up to make sure that you continue progressing in your goal. The great thing about this club is that you can bring in with you whatever tools you already have, so that training plan, a coach, whoever, and then you can take the tools you need from my resources I'm going to give you every month. The way that this is built around, it is built on a periodization schedule of a total year. So we are going to start with getting you really conditioned, and the goal is to have you peak for your competition. Okay? Every month you get access to me in a Facebook group, and then you have your own personal training plan where you and I talk. You and I are the only ones that have community or access to that, and you log what you're doing and you log questions for me, and we can make an adjustments there specifically for your training needs. So that's the one thing you get. You also get a Facebook group where you can come in, and that's your team to come in and be accountable and show up and support and answer questions and get all of your questions answered as well. The other thing is that I mentioned you get this monthly plan, and every month we have a different theme in it. And there's training in there, there's recovery, there's nutrition, and then there's also lifestyle balance stuff in there. The training includes functional training exercises and also these preventative things that I'm talking about, and they are specifically focused to what training you should be doing during the week. We will be rotating throughout the year different sport-specific preventatives as well. And the great thing is you always have access to them. So even after the month passes, you can go back into the main portal and you can find that program for running. You can find that program for biking and be able to just tap into that again. We also have a monthly body focus. So for example, for July, we're going to start from the bottom up. We're going to be talking about feet. Feet are our main stability and our main source of strength when it comes to our core and performance. So our feet have issues, the rest of our body is going to have issues eventually if it doesn't already. So we're going to be really focusing on the feet, start strengthening and waking them up, and looking at exercises we can do that will help all the way up to our shoulders and our head and neck and things like that to keep you really healthy and training strong. And the last thing I think is really great and really why I wanted to do this, as you know, I have 2 kids. Now my kids are 7 and almost 5, so it's not like I have a whole lot of time just to spend to training. And so I want to make sure, even though this sounds like a lot of tools for you to have, that you have the time to do this. So this schedule that I have for you is totally built around the focus of your sport-specific training, with all of these other things being able to be integrated very quickly into the busy and hectic lives that we have as women. And so it doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're a working mom, if you don't have access to a gym, that's just fine. They have a lot of, they're really minimal equipment exercises. A lot of them are body weight. And so it's really stuff that'll be super easy for you to fit at home or to fit in at the end of like a routine at the gym and things like that. And the other thing I also have in there is when you get your training thing. So every month you get a training plan and my suggestions of when you should be doing what. As I said, it's kind of a plug and play. So if you have your own, like if I say you're going to be doing endurance training and you're like, okay, I'm training for a 5K, so I'm going to put in that training on Monday. Okay. If you don't, you're like, I have nothing to do there, then I have an option that you can plug in there for you. But the other thing that's really nice is I have schedules for 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, and 6 days a week, because everybody has a different plan of when they can work out. So you can make things fit for your life in there. And the best thing is you can have questions that I can help you answer. If you're having flare-ups and injuries, we can start a plan to help you get past those. And then I think the thing I'm most excited about this is the ability to connect with other women and have that team support and make sure that you hit those goals. You have this part of this is accountability. You show up. There are competitions within this club. Who's showing up? Who's meeting their goals? Who's on top of it? Who's going to win this month? We don't know until we're in there. But I'm really excited for this, and I wanted to make sure that I make it so that it does fit into any other training budget needs. And so the monthly plan price is under $15 a month, and if you go with the annual plan, then it's actually under $12 a month. It's super affordable for the amount of information I'm putting in there. And right now, I'm going to make sure that we keep that price nice and low. I probably will raise it up a little after the first of the year. So I will make sure and go back and put the link there in the comments so you can learn more about it. Or feel free to go ahead and, comment down below if you have any questions. I'll for sure come back and answer those for you. So that's it for now. I am going to go. This is probably one of the longest lives I've done in a while. But yeah, go check that out. As I said again, it's the Move, Heal, Play monthly training club. And it's really designed for, really active and athletic women like you who are ready to get back to that lifestyle and train and really want to do something in this next coming year. And you don't want to have those excuses that come up again that don't allow you to reach those goals. because I know, I mean, it's like when that little inner athlete is inside of you, just itching to come out. Gosh, just to have a plan to be able to get unstuck and just be there is so needed. So that's what I really am hoping to give you this year with this club. And I hope that you will come and join us there, because I'm so excited about it. But on that note, have a wonderful evening. If you're like me, my kids are all officially out of school now for the next 2.5 weeks. So it's going to be good times. Yay. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to a good holiday and Christmas season. And I will talk to all of you soon. Bye-bye.